I'd been demoted with a microphone. That's the thing nobody tells you about betrayal. It doesn't come with a knife in the back. It comes with a smile, a rented PA system, and 200 witnesses who think they're watching something beautiful. The venue was one of those converted warehouse spaces that cost more per hour than I used to make in a week. Exposed brick, Edison bulbs hanging from black iron chains, reclaimed wood tables that probably came from a barn in Vermont. The kind of place that screams, "We have taste," while charging $40 for a cheese plate. I sat in the fourth row. Not the front, not the second. Fourth. My daughter Emma stood at the altar in a dress that cost what I'd budgeted for her entire college fund back when she was born. White silk, hand-beaded, fitted perfectly because she'd had 3 alterations. I knew because I'd seen the credit card statement before she'd moved the account. The officiant was some friend of the groom's family, young guy, beard groomed like a topiary, voice trained to sound both casual and profound. He was wrapping up the ceremony, doing that thing where he introduces the wedding party to the reception crowd. And now, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge some special guests. I felt it coming before he said it. Emma's mother Linda couldn't be with us today, but her memory is present in everything Emma has become. Cancer. The kind that gives you just enough time to plan but not enough time to accept. She'd spent her last 8 months organizing Emma's life like she was preparing for a storm. Insurance beneficiaries, property transfers, educational trusts. She'd been a legal secretary for 20 years. She knew how to build walls around what mattered. What she hadn't planned for was me living long enough to watch those walls get knocked down. And we'd also like to recognize the guests who traveled from out of state to be here. I watched Emma's face. She wasn't looking at me. She was looking at her new husband, Brandon, software engineer at some startup that hadn't turned a profit but had excellent branding. He wore his hair in that carefully disheveled way that takes product and time. His suit was charcoal gray, slim cut, expensive without being flashy. He squeezed her hand. Emma's father. Here it comes, I thought. Here's where he says my name. Dave Patterson. Here's where he says who raised her or who walked her down the aisle, or even just Dave. And other family friends are here as guests, and we're grateful for everyone who made the trip. Other family friends. Guests. The applause was polite, scattered, the kind of clapping you do when someone mentions the catering staff or the venue coordinator. Acknowledgement without weight. I didn't stand, didn't wave, just nodded once, the way you do when someone holds a door for you and you're too far away to say thanks. Emma smiled, not at me, at the crowd, at Brandon, at the photographer who was circling like a shark, capturing every angle of her perfect day. The thing about humiliation is that it's only effective if you let people see it land. I'd worked in facilities management for 30 years, union shops, municipal contracts, job sites, where one mistake could cost someone their arm. I'd learned early that the guy who flinches is the guy who gets tested, so I didn't flinch. I sat in my 4th-row seat in my off-the-rack suit that I'd bought at Kohl's with a coupon, and I watched my daughter marry a man who'd never asked me a single question about her childhood. The ceremony ended. Everyone stood. The music swelled, something classical that I didn't recognize but that probably cost extra. Emma and Brandon walked down the aisle, her hand tucked into the crook of his elbow, both of them beaming like they'd just won something. I waited until the crowd thinned before standing. No rush. I had nowhere to be. The cocktail hour was in an adjacent room, same industrial aesthetic, same expensive lighting, same waiters in black vests carrying trays of things on toothpicks. I took a sparkling water from the bar and found a corner near a fern that cost more than my truck payment. People clustered in groups. Brandon's family, Emma's college friends, co-workers from her marketing job. I recognized maybe a dozen faces. Most of them didn't recognize me. I'd met Brandon's parents exactly once, 3 months ago, at a dinner Emma had organized like a business meeting. His mother was a real estate attorney. His father was a plastic surgeon. They'd asked what I did, and when I said facilities management, his mother had said, "Oh, that sounds steady," in the same tone you'd use to describe oatmeal. They were here now, holding court near the bar. I watched Brandon's mother lean in close to someone, probably delivering some insider detail about the wedding planning. She had that look, the kind of woman who treated information like currency. Emma appeared in the doorway, Brandon still attached to her elbow. They made the rounds, hugging, laughing, accepting congratulations like they were collecting debts. She saw me. Our eyes met for maybe 2 seconds. Then she turned to an aunt I didn't recognize and pulled her into an embrace that looked like a magazine ad. I sipped my sparkling water. It was French. The label said so. The dinner was assigned seating. I found my name card at table 12, tucked in the back near the kitchen doors. My table mates were 3 couples I'd never met, and a single woman who spent the entire salad course on her phone. Table 1. That was Emma and Brandon. Tables 2 through 5, wedding party, and immediate family. Brandon's parents were at table 3. I was at table 12. The speeches started after the entree. Best man, Brandon's college roommate, told a story about a road trip to Vegas that got nervous laughs. Maid of honor, Emma's sorority sister, delivered something heartfelt about finding your person that made people dab their eyes. No father of the bride speech. That's traditional, usually. The father stands up, says something embarrassing but loving. Everyone laughs, everyone cries, everyone drinks. But traditions only apply when you're recognized as existing. I ate my chicken. It was good chicken, probably cost $30 a plate. The dancing started at 8. Emma and Brandon took the floor first. Their choreographed number that they'd clearly practiced, some pop song about forever. Then, Brandon danced with his mother. Then Emma danced with Brandon's father because, as the DJ explained, Emma's father couldn't be here tonight. I was 20 feet away, sitting at table 12, drinking French sparkling water. I could have stood up, could have walked onto that floor, could have made a scene. But Linda's voice was in my head, the same voice that had guided me through her funeral, through the probate process, through every decision I'd made in the 6 years since she'd died. Pick your battles, Dave, and when you pick one, win it. So I sat. And I watched, and I waited. The cake cutting happened at 9. 5 tiers, fondant, hand-painted flowers. Emma and Brandon fed each other with those tiny silver forks, careful not to smear the makeup. Flash photography from every angle. Then the garter toss, the bouquet toss, the last dance, the grand exit through a tunnel of sparklers that probably violated fire code but looked great on camera. By 10:30, the crowd was thinning. The bar was still open, but the bartender was yawning. The DJ was packing up his equipment. A few hardcore dancers were still going, their ties loosened, their shoes abandoned under tables. I stayed until 10:45, not because I was enjoying myself, but because leaving early would have looked like retreat. I found the coat check, retrieved my jacket, a windbreaker I'd owned for 8 years, and headed for the parking lot. The venue had valet parking. $20, tip not included. I'd driven myself because I wasn't going to hand my truck keys to a teenager in a vest. I was halfway to my truck when I heard her voice. Dad. I stopped, turned. Emma was standing in the doorway, still in her wedding dress, the train gathered in one hand. She'd kicked off her heels. Her feet were bare on the concrete. Yeah? I said. She walked toward me. Not fast, not slow, measured. We need to talk, she said. About? The envelope. I didn't say anything. There was supposed to be an envelope, she said. From you, in the gift collection box. Was there? It's not there. Maybe it got lost, I said. Her jaw tightened. Just a little. Just enough. Brandon counted them, she said. We had a spreadsheet. Everyone who RSVP'd, yes, we tracked their gifts. Yours isn't there. Maybe I didn't bring one, I said. You were on the list. Maybe I changed my mind. She took another step closer. Close enough now that I could see the makeup creasing at the corners of her eyes, close enough to smell the champagne on her breath. What was in it? She asked. Does it matter? Yes. Why? Because we need it. Not I want it. Not it would mean a lot. We need it. I looked at her. Really looked at her. This woman who used to sit on my shoulders at 4th of July parades, who used to make me tea parties with real cookies and imaginary cups, who used to fall asleep in the truck on the way home from soccer practice. This stranger in a $15,000 dress. I don't have it, I said. You're lying. Am I? Where is it, Dad? The way she said Dad, like it was a title I'd lost the right to use. Check the lost and found, I said. I turned and walked to my truck. She didn't follow. While you're here, hit the hype button. Don't forget to subscribe and support this channel with a like. And tell us below, have you ever faced something like this? The motel was off Route 9, one of those places that still had actual keys instead of card locks. $49 a night, HBO included. Free coffee in the lobby until 9. I'd checked in that morning before the wedding. No point driving 2 hours back home at midnight. The room smelled like industrial cleaner and old carpet. The TV was bolted to the dresser. The bedspread had that quilted pattern that hides stains. I sat on the edge of the bed and pulled out my phone. 3 missed calls, all from Emma, 2 voicemails. I played the first one. Dad, it's me. Call me back. This is important. Her voice was tight, controlled, the same voice she used to use when she wanted to borrow the car and was trying not to sound desperate. Second voicemail. I know you have it. I don't know what you're trying to prove, but this isn't funny. Call me. Now. I deleted both. Then I opened my photos, scrolled back 6 months. There it was, the envelope, white, letter-sized, nothing fancy. My handwriting on the front. For Emma, open only if. I'd taken the photo the day I sealed it. Documentation. Linda had taught me that. Always document. The envelope wasn't a gift. It was insurance. And Emma had just triggered the claim. My phone buzzed. Text message. Not Emma this time. Brandon. We need to talk about the envelope. This is serious. I didn't respond. Another buzz. Another text. I don't know what your problem is, but Emma is upset, and I won't let you ruin our wedding night. Call me tomorrow and we'll sort this out like adults. I almost laughed. Adults. This kid who'd been alive for 28 years telling me how adults behave. I set the phone on the nightstand and stared at the ceiling. The acoustic tiles were stained in one corner. Water damage, probably. The kind of thing that happens when maintenance gets deferred too long. You ignore a small leak, it becomes a big leak. You ignore a big leak, it becomes structural damage. I'd spent 30 years fixing other people's structural damage. Now I was looking at my own. The thing about Emma, she wasn't always like this. There was a version of her that existed before Linda died, before the estate got settled, before Brandon showed up with his startup equity and his parents' connections. That version of Emma used to call me every Sunday, used to send me photos of her apartment, her cat, her breakfast, used to ask my advice about things that didn't matter, what color to paint her kitchen, whether to get bangs, if I thought her boss was being unreasonable. Little things, connection things. That version disappeared gradually, so gradually I didn't notice until she was gone. First, it was the Sunday calls getting shorter, then every other week, then monthly, then I'll call you back, that never came. Then it was the decisions made without me. The apartment upgrade I heard about on Facebook. The promotion she mentioned in passing 3 weeks after it happened. The engagement she announced via text message with a photo of the ring. Then it was the wedding planning I wasn't invited to participate in. Then it was today. Just a guest. I pulled up my contacts. Found Linda's number. I'd never deleted it. Sometimes I still texted it. Stupid stuff. Updates she'd never read, questions she'd never answer. Tonight I typed, "You were right. Should have moved faster." I hit send. The message delivered to nowhere. I lay back on the bed, still dressed, and closed my eyes. Sleep didn't come. Instead, I thought about the envelope, about what was inside, about the choice Emma had made today without knowing she was making it. Linda had explained it to me 2 months before she died. We were in the hospital room, late afternoon, the kind of light that makes everything look temporary. "Dave," she'd said, "I need you to listen to me. Really listen." I'd pulled my chair closer to the bed. "I've made arrangements," she'd said. "For Emma. For after. I know. The trust. The insurance. You showed me. Not just that. There's more." She'd handed me a folder. Legal documents. Forms I didn't understand. "I'm giving her control," Linda had said. "Of the house, the accounts, the estate. She'll be the executor. She'll make the decisions." "Why not me?" "Because she needs to learn. And because you'll let her." "Let her what?" "Make mistakes. You're too soft with her, Dave. You always have been. She needs to learn consequences." "She's 23 years old, Linda." "Exactly. Old enough to manage money. Old enough to handle responsibility. Old enough to choose who she wants to be. And if she chooses wrong?" Linda had smiled, weak but real. "Then you'll know." "Know what?" "Who she really is, and then you'll know what to do." I'd signed where she told me to sign. I'd trusted her. I always trusted her. What I didn't know, what Linda didn't tell me until a week before she died, was that she'd built in a fail-safe. Power of attorney documents that looked standard but weren't. Property transfers that included clauses nobody read. Medical directives that gave Emma authority until they didn't. Linda had been a legal secretary for 2 decades. She knew every loophole, every contingency, every way to protect someone from themselves. "The envelope," she'd said, her voice barely above a whisper. "You'll know when to use it. You'll feel it. And when you do, don't hesitate. Don't second guess. Just execute." "Execute what?" "The fail-safe." She died 3 days later. I'd forgotten about the fail-safe, or maybe I'd tried to forget. For 6 years, I let Emma be the executor, let her manage the estate, let her make the calls. And for 6 years, she'd made them. The house, Linda's house, the one we'd bought together when Emma was 2, sold without asking me. Emma said it was too big, too expensive to maintain. She'd pocketed the profit, sent me a check for $10,000 like a tip. The life insurance, $300,000, supposed to be split. Emma took her half and mine, said she'd invested it in a mutual fund for both of us. Showed me statements that looked official. I didn't question them. The medical bills from Linda's final months, Emma paid them from the estate accounts. Then billed the estate for administrative fees that ate another $40,000. I didn't fight any of it. Linda's voice in my head. Let her make mistakes. But today wasn't a mistake. Today was a declaration. Just a guest. I opened my eyes, pulled out my phone, opened the photo of the envelope again. The handwriting was clear. For Emma, open only if she forgets where she came from. Linda had written the condition. I'd written the address. Inside was a single document, notarized, dated, legal, a revocation of power of attorney, effective immediately upon delivery. All authority Emma had over Linda's estate, over the remaining assets, over the accounts she thought she controlled, gone. Transferred back to me, the original executor. But it wasn't just that. Linda had been smarter than that. She'd included a second document, one I'd only read once, one I'd tried to forget. A full accounting of every transaction Emma had made as executor, every sale, every transfer, every fee, with notations, discrepancies, administrative fees that didn't match invoices, investment accounts that didn't exist, property maintenance costs, charged to an address that had been sold 2 years earlier. Not enough to be criminal, just enough to be embarrassing. And attached to that accounting, a letter from Linda to Emma. I'd read it the day Linda sealed the envelope. Emma, if you're reading this, it means you forgot. You forgot where you came from. You forgot who raised you. You forgot that love isn't transactional. And so I'm reminding you, everything you think you own, you were given. Everything you think you earned, you were helped to achieve. Everything you think you deserve, someone else sacrificed for. If you can't acknowledge that, then you don't deserve to manage it. Love, Mom. That letter was supposed to be a bomb. Linda thought it would scare Emma straight. I thought I'd never have to deliver it. I was wrong. I texted Emma back. Check your mail in 3 days. Then I turned off my phone. And finally, I slept. The startup was called Vitametrics, health analytics software. Brandon was the CTO. They had 12 employees, a leased office in a tech park, and a burn rate of $40,000 a month. They'd been operating for 3 years, 0 revenue. Their business model was to develop the software, prove the concept, then sell to a larger healthcare company. Except nobody was buying. I knew this because I'd spent Tuesday night and Wednesday morning researching. LinkedIn, Crunchbase, public filings, employee reviews on Glassdoor. And Emma had dumped $300,000 into it. Wednesday afternoon, I drove to the tech park. The office was on the second floor of a building that looked like every tech startup in America. Glass doors, exposed ductwork, beanbag chairs in the lobby. I walked in. The receptionist was a kid, 22 maybe, septum piercing, sleeve tattoo. "Can I help you?" she said. "I'm here to see Brandon Keller." "Do you have an appointment?" "No. He's in a meeting. I'll wait." She looked uncertain. "Can I tell him who's here?" "His father-in-law." Her eyes widened slightly. "Oh, let me just..." She picked up the phone, whispered something, hung up. "He'll be right out." I sat on one of the beanbag chairs. It was less comfortable than it looked. Brandon appeared 5 minutes later. He looked worse than yesterday. Unshaven, wrinkled shirt. "Dave, what are you doing here?" "Visiting." "This isn't a good time." "It's perfect." He glanced at the receptionist. She was pretending not to listen. "Let's talk outside," he said. We went to the parking lot. "Emma's in bad shape," Brandon said. "She hasn't slept. She won't eat. She's..." "Not my problem." "Yes, it is." "No, it's yours. You married her. You took her money. You built your failing company on my wife's life insurance." "It's not failing." "Yes, it is. We're pivoting. We have new investors interested." "You're lying." Brandon's jaw tightened. "You don't know anything about this business. I know you have 12 employees, no revenue, and 6 months of cash left. I know your last funding round failed. I know 2 of your co-founders quit in the last year. I know you're desperate." "How do you..." "Google. It's not hard." He ran his hand through his hair. "What do you want, Dave?" "I want you to tell Emma the truth." "About what?" "About your company. About the money being gone. About the fact that she sacrificed her inheritance for equity that's worthless." "It's not worthless." "Prove it." "I can't just..." "Exactly." Brandon looked at the building, then back at me. "If you destroy Vitametrics, you destroy Emma's investment. You destroy her last chance to pay back the estate." "I'm not destroying anything. You already did that. We can still turn this around." "No, you can't." "With the right capital?" "You're not getting more capital. Emma's accounts are frozen. The estate funds are locked. Your investors know you're in trouble. Nobody's writing checks." Brandon's face went pale. "How do you know the accounts are frozen?" "Because I filed the motion yesterday. It was approved this morning. Emma can't touch a dollar without court approval." "You can't do that." "I did. We have payroll on Friday. We have rent. We have..." "Not my problem." Brandon stepped closer, angry now. "You know what your problem is, Dave? You're stuck in the past. You can't handle that Emma grew up, that she has a life that doesn't revolve around you. My problem, I said, is that my daughter stole from me and gave the money to a con artist who convinced her he was worth it. I love her. You love her money. That's not true. Then why did you take it? He didn't answer. Why did you let her invest estate funds into your company? Why didn't you stop her? Why didn't you tell her it was illegal? She wanted to help. She wanted to impress you, and you let her destroy herself to do it. Brandon's phone rang. He ignored it. What do you want from me? He said. Nothing. You're irrelevant. Then why are you here? Because I want you to see it coming. See what? The collapse. I walked back to my truck. Brandon followed. Dave, wait. If Vitametrics goes under, Emma loses everything. Her investment, her reputation, her... Good. You don't care? I care deeply. That's why I'm doing this. I got in my truck. Brandon grabbed the door. I'll fight you. With what? You're broke. Your investors are bailing. Your wife's accounts are frozen. What are you going to fight with? He let go of the door. I drove away. In my rearview mirror, I watched him standing in the parking lot. Defeated. Good. I went back to my house. Attorney Moss called at 4. The freeze is in effect, he said. Emma can't access any accounts tied to the estate. Brandon can't access any joint accounts that include estate funds. They're locked out. How long? Until the audit completes. 3 months minimum. What happens if they can't pay their bills? Not our problem. Will they lose the townhouse? If they can't make the mortgage, yes. Good. Moss was quiet for a moment. Dave, I have to ask. How far are you planning to take this? All the way. To what end? Until Emma understands. Understands what? That there are consequences for erasing people. And if she doesn't understand, if she just breaks, then she breaks. Moss sighed. All right, I'll keep processing the audit. But Dave, what? Linda wanted Emma to learn, not be destroyed. Linda's not here. No, but her instructions were clear. Teach Emma. Don't annihilate her. I hung up. Then I sat at my kitchen table and thought about what Moss said. Linda's instructions. Teach Emma. But Emma hadn't learned. She'd apologized, she'd cried, she'd begged, but she hadn't learned. She still thought this was about the money, about the wedding, about mistakes that could be fixed with apologies. She didn't understand that this was about character, about who she'd become when nobody was watching, about the person she'd chosen to be. And if she didn't understand that yet, she would. My phone buzzed. Text from Emma. Dad, please, I need to talk to you in person. It's important. I stared at the message. Then I texted back. Where? Mom's grave, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. I didn't respond, but I'd be there. Linda was buried in Greenwood Cemetery. Section D, Plot 247, under a maple tree that turned red in October. The headstone was simple. Linda Marie Patterson, 1972-2019, beloved wife and mother. Emma had chosen the inscription. I'd paid for it. I arrived at 8:50. The cemetery was quiet. Morning mist still hanging in the low spots. Birds in the trees. Emma was already there. She was sitting on the ground next to the headstone, knees pulled up. Head down. She looked up when she heard my footsteps. Hi, Dad. Emma. I stood a few feet away, hands in my pockets. She looked terrible, worse than yesterday, hair unwashed, dark circles under her eyes. She was wearing the same clothes as before. I've been here since 7, she said. I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about what Mom said, in the video. I didn't respond. She said I'd lost my way, that I'd traded family for status, that I'd become someone she didn't raise. She was right. Emma nodded. She also said something else. She said if I ever found myself sitting at her grave, trying to figure out how to fix what I'd broken, I should ask myself one question. What question? If she were still alive, Would I have done any of this? I looked at the headstone. Would you? I asked. No. Why not? Because she'd have stopped me. How? By asking the questions you didn't ask, by challenging the decisions you didn't challenge, by being the parent I wasn't. Emma looked up at me. That's not what I meant. Yes, it is. She was quiet. You're right, she said. After Mom died, I don't know. I felt like I had to prove something. Like I had to show I could handle everything, that I didn't need help. You proved it. Did I? You managed an estate, sold property, made investments, got married, built a life, all without me. But I did it wrong. Yes. She started crying. I'm so sorry, Dad. I know. I don't know how to fix it. You can't. Then what do I do? I looked at Linda's grave. You face it. You accept what you did. You live with the consequences. And us? What about us? Are we done? I didn't answer. Dad, please. I know I hurt you. I know I screwed up. But you're all I have left. Brandon's parents hate me. My friends don't know what to say. The audit's going to destroy my reputation. I'm going to lose everything, and if I lose you too. You lost me at the wedding. I know. But can I get you back? I looked at her. This woman who used to be my daughter, who used to call me every Sunday, who used to send me photos of her breakfast, who used to ask my advice about things that didn't matter. I wanted to say yes. I wanted to forgive her. But Linda's voice was in my head. When you finally get hard, you'll be unbreakable. No, I said. Emma's face crumpled. Why not? Because you're not sorry you did it. You're sorry you got caught. That's not true. Prove it. How? Give me one thing you'd do different if you could go back. Not the wedding introduction. Not the money. One real thing. She thought for a long time. Then she said, I'd ask you about Mom, about what she was like before I could remember, about how you met, about what you were like together, about the things she never got to tell me. I felt something crack in my chest. Why didn't you? Because I thought I already knew. I thought the stories I remembered were enough. I thought... She stopped. What? I thought asking would make it hurt more, and I didn't want to hurt. I sat down on the grass. We sat there in silence, me and Emma, on either side of Linda's grave. She made you the executor for a reason, I said. I know. She wanted you to learn responsibility, to understand consequences, to grow up. I know. And she built the fail-safe because she knew you might fail. Emma nodded. But she didn't build it to destroy you, I said. She built it to save you, from yourself. I don't feel saved. You're not yet. Will I be? Depends. On what? On whether you learn. Emma wiped her face. What do I need to learn? That the money doesn't matter, that the house doesn't matter, that the status and the wedding and the perfect life don't matter. What matters is knowing who you are when nobody's watching. I don't know who that is anymore. Then figure it out. I stood up. Emma grabbed my hand. Dad, wait, please. I looked down at her. I love you, she said. I know I haven't shown it. I know I've been terrible. But I love you. And I need you to know that. I know. Do you still love me? I pulled my hand away. I love who you were. I don't know who you are. I walked away. Behind me, I heard her crying. I didn't turn back. I got in my truck and drove to Latham Road. The property was still for sale. The listing agent had called twice. I hadn't answered. I parked in the clearing, walked to the double wide, stood in front of it. This was supposed to be our future, Linda's and mine. We were going to build something here, something permanent. Instead, it became a transaction, a line item, $85,000 minus closing costs. I pulled out my phone, called Gil Hendricks. Dave, I need you to demo the double wide. When? Today. That's short notice. I'll pay double. What about permits? I own the property. It's mine to demolish. Gil was quiet. You don't own it, Dave. Emma sold it. I'm buying it back. From who? The people who are selling it. I already made an offer. They accepted. That was a lie, but it would be true by the end of the day. All right, Gil said. I'll bring the crew this afternoon. Good. I hung up. Then I called the listing agent. Monroe Realty, this is Jessica. It's Dave Patterson. I'm making an offer on the Latham Road property. Oh. Wonderful. What's your offer? $60,000, cash, close in 2 weeks. The asking price is $140. The double wide is worthless. The land needs work. The buyers paid $60 in 2019. I'm offering them a clean exit. I'll have to present it to my clients. Do that. Tell them if they don't accept by end of day, I'm filing a quiet title claim and exposing the original sale discrepancy. What? They bought stolen property. Emma didn't have the legal right to sell at the price she did. I can prove it. So they can take my $60,000 and walk away clean, or they can fight me in court and lose. I hung up. Then I sat in my truck and waited. The listing agent called back in 40 minutes. Mr. Patterson, my clients have accepted your offer. Good. They're not happy about it. I don't care. They're asking if you'll close faster than 2 weeks. 1 week, final offer. I'll ask. She called back in 10 minutes. They'll take it. 1 week. Cash. Done. I hung up. Then I called Attorney Moss. Dave, I'm buying back the Latham Road property. With what money? Savings. I've got $70,000 set aside, $60 for the property, $10 for fees. Why? Because it's mine. Dave, that's not going to help the estate case. If anything, it complicates. I don't care about the case, I care about the land. Moss sighed. All right, I'll handle the closing paperwork. Good. And Moss? Yeah? Once the property's mine again, I'm going to rebuild. Rebuild what? The house Linda and I planned, the one we never got to finish. Dave, I'm done talking about it. Just handle the paperwork. I hung up. Then I watched Gil and his crew arrive. 3 guys, 2 trucks, equipment. They spent 4 hours demolishing the double wide, tearing it apart, hauling it away, leaving nothing but the foundation and the cleared land. I watched the whole thing. When they finished, Gil walked over. All gone, he said. Good. You sure about this, Dave? That was a salvageable structure. Not great, but salvageable. I'm sure. What are you going to do with the land? Build. Build what? What I should have built 6 years ago. Gil nodded. Need help? Eventually. Not yet. He left. I stood in the clearing, empty now, except for the foundation. The foundation Linda and I had poured together. Cracked, overgrown, but still there. Still solid. I pulled out my phone, texted Emma. I bought back Latham Road for $60,000. You sold it for $85. You owe the estate $25. She didn't respond. I drove home. When I got there, Brandon was waiting, his car in my driveway. Again. I parked, got out. He got out too. Dave, we need to talk. No. Vitametrics is shutting down. We missed payroll. The investors pulled out. It's over. Good. Emma's investment is gone. I know. She can't pay back the estate. I know. She's going to lose everything. I know. Brandon's voice cracked. How can you do this to her? I'm not doing anything. She did it to herself. You're destroying her. No, I'm letting her face consequences. She's your daughter. She was. Brandon stepped closer, shaking. You want to know what she did today? She tried to sell her wedding ring, to pay bills. She went to 3 different jewelers. Nobody would give her more than $2,000 for a ring that cost $12. Okay? That's all you have to say? What do you want me to say? That you'll stop this, that you'll help her, that you'll... I'm done helping. I helped for 6 years. She took everything I gave and turned it into this. Brandon swung, clumsy, desperate. I saw it coming, I blocked it, shoved him back. He stumbled, caught himself on the truck. Go home, Brandon. No. He swung again. This time I didn't block it. I let him hit me. The punch landed on my jaw, hard enough to snap my head to the side. Feel better? I said. He didn't answer. Go home. I can't. She's not okay, Dave. She's really not okay, and I don't know what to do. That's not my problem. Yes, it is. You're her father. I'm supposed to what? Enable her? Forgive her? Pretend the last 6 years didn't happen? You're supposed to love her. I do. That's why I'm doing this. Brandon shook his head. You're insane. Maybe. He got in his car and left. I went inside. My jaw was swelling. I put ice on it, sat at the kitchen table, thought about what Brandon said. She's not okay. Good. Neither was I. The audit results came back on Friday. 300 pages, single-spaced, every transaction Emma had made as executor, every fee, every sale, every transfer. Attorney Moss sent me the summary. Total estate value as of current date, $12,300. Discrepancies identified, $314,700. Breakdown, unauthorized investment of estate funds into Vitametrics, $287,000. Inflated administrative fees, $43,000. Property sale price discrepancy, Latham Road, $25,000. Miscellaneous unaccounted transfers, $14,700. Moss's note at the bottom. This is worse than we thought. The judge is going to throw the book at her. I called him. What happens next? Hearing on Monday. Emma has to appear. She'll be asked to account for every dollar. If she can't, and she can't, she'll be removed as executor and ordered to repay. How long does she have to repay? Judge's discretion, usually 30 to 90 days. And if she can't? Asset seizure, garnished wages, possible criminal referral if the DA thinks it rises to that level. Will it? Probably not. It's civil misappropriation, not fraud, but it's bad enough. Good. Dave, you sure you want to go through with the hearing? Emma's going to be crucified. I'm sure. Okay, I'll see you Monday. I hung up. Then I did something I hadn't done in weeks. I called Emma. She answered on the first ring. Dad, you get the audit results? Yes. You understand what they mean? Yes. Good. See you at the hearing. Dad, wait. Please. Can we talk before then? No. Please, just... I hung up. Then I spent the weekend preparing. Monday morning. The courthouse was downtown. Old building. Marble floors. High ceilings. The hearing was in courtroom 4B. Estate matters. Judge Morrison presiding. I arrived at 8:45. Emma and Brandon were already there, sitting on a bench outside the courtroom. Emma looked like a ghost, pale, thin, hollow. Brandon looked angry. They saw me. Emma stood. Dad. I walked past them, into the courtroom. Attorney Moss was at the plaintiff's table. I sat next to him. Emma's attorney here yet? I asked. Yeah, Richard Keller, Brandon's dad, representing her pro bono. Is he any good? At real estate law? Yes. At estate litigation? No. Good. The bailiff called the court to order. Judge Morrison entered, 60s, gray hair, reading glasses on a chain. Estate of Linda Marie Patterson, he said. Matter of executor misconduct. Are all parties present? Yes, Your Honor, Moss said. Yes, Your Honor, Richard Keller said. Very well, Mr. Moss, you filed the complaint. Proceed. Moss stood. For the next 20 minutes, he walked through the audit. Every discrepancy, every unauthorized transaction, every violation of fiduciary duty. The judge's expression got darker with every page. When Moss finished, Morrison looked at Emma. Ms. Keller, or is it still Patterson? Keller, Your Honor, Emma said, her voice barely audible. Ms. Keller, you were appointed executor of your mother's estate in 2019. Is that correct? Yes, Your Honor. and you were granted broad discretion to manage estate assets. Correct? Yes, Your Honor. Did you understand that discretion came with fiduciary responsibilities? Yes. Did you understand that you were required to act in the best interest of the estate and its beneficiaries? Yes. Then explain to me how investing nearly $300,000 of estate funds into your husband's failing startup qualifies as acting in the estate's best interest. Emma's attorney stood. Your Honor, if I may. Sit down, Mr. Keller. I asked your client. Richard Keller sat. Emma's voice shook. I thought the investment would grow the estate. You thought. What you should have done is consulted with the other beneficiary. You should have obtained court approval. You should have acted with the care and prudence that the law requires. Instead, you gambled, and you lost. Your Honor, I'm not finished. Let me make sure I understand the full scope of your actions. You invested estate funds without authorization. You charged excessive administrative fees. You misrepresented the sale price of estate property. And when confronted, you attempted to hide the evidence by transferring assets into joint accounts with your husband. Is any of that incorrect? Emma looked at her attorney. He shook his head slightly. No, Your Honor. Morrison leaned back. I've been on the bench for 22 years. I've seen executors steal outright. I've seen them forge documents. I've seen them drain estates to nothing. What you did isn't the worst I've seen, but it's close. Because you didn't steal out of desperation. You stole out of entitlement. Emma started crying. Morrison ignored it. Here's my ruling. You are removed as executor effective immediately. David Patterson is reinstated. You are ordered to repay the estate the full amount of $314,700 within 60 days. If you fail to repay, I will authorize asset seizure. Additionally, I am referring this matter to the district attorney to determine if criminal charges are warranted. Emma's legs gave out. Brandon caught her. Richard Keller stood. Your Honor, my client cannot possibly repay that amount in 60 days. She has no assets. Her husband's company has failed. They're underwater on their mortgage. That's not my problem, Mr. Keller. Your client had 6 years to act responsibly. She chose not to. She'll face the consequences. Morrison banged his gavel. We're adjourned. He left. Emma collapsed into her chair, sobbing. Brandon tried to comfort her. She pushed him away. I stood, walked toward the exit. Emma called after me. Dad, please. I stopped, turned. She was a wreck, mascara running, hands shaking. Please don't do this. I didn't do this. You did. I'll pay it back. I'll find a way. You have 60 days. I can't do it in 60 days. Then you'll lose everything. I've already lost everything. I've lost you. I looked at her. This stranger who used to be my daughter. Yeah, I said. You have. I left. Moss caught up with me in the hallway. Dave, you did it. You won. I know. So what now? Now I take back what's mine. The estate? Everything. I walked out of the courthouse, got in my truck, drove to Newton Park, parked in front of Emma and Brandon's townhouse, walked to the door. It was unlocked. I went inside. The place was different now, messier. Mail piled on the counter, dishes in the sink, the smell of stress and desperation. I walked through the rooms, looking for something. I found it in the bedroom, a photo album, on the nightstand. I opened it. Photos of Emma, from childhood to now. Linda was in half of them. I flipped through the pages. Emma at 5, missing her front teeth. Emma at 10, soccer uniform. Emma at 15, prom dress. Emma at 20, college graduation. Linda was in every major moment, smiling, proud. I closed the album, left it on the bed, walked out, got back in my truck. My phone rang. Emma. I answered. You were in my house. Yes. Why? Looking for something. What? Proof you used to be human. Silence. Then, did you find it? Yeah. And it doesn't matter anymore. Dad, 60 days, Emma. Find the money or lose everything. I hung up, drove to Latham Road. The property was mine again. The closing had finalized Friday. I stood in the clearing. The foundation was still there, waiting. I pulled out my phone, called Gil. Dave, I'm ready to build. When? Now. You got plans? Linda's plans. From before. I saved them. Send them over. I'll get you an estimate. Don't care about the estimate, just build it. Dave, I've got the money, I've got the time, just build it. Gil was quiet. All right, I'll start pulling permits tomorrow. I hung up, sat on the foundation, the same foundation Linda and I had poured, the same one Emma had abandoned, the same one I was going to build on, and I thought about what came next.